Test, test, 1, 2. Alright, guys. I think you can hear me. Hope you can. So, I'm on this mining run, playing Entropia Universe. Enjoying it, I guess. What is it that you enjoy? What is it that in life that you really want to achieve or enjoy? Or in all perspective, keep doing? Big questions. Big questions dropping probes. It's the new segment of this indoor mining. Big questions mining probes. Well, what I enjoy is life, the nature of things, the natural occurrences. I think those are the most finest things in life. When everything just comes together without pushing, trying to achieve, or even manipulate to get your way. I think the natural occurrences or the natural flow is the more delicate way of living in existence. This I call the most beautiful effect of our lives, is the entropic feel of everyday living. We see so much tragedy on the local news, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. Everywhere seems to be going in a chaotic stretch. But why? Is it for order? Are we creating order with chaos? Is there something that is going to incur for order to happen? All this events in the world that we see, we are not subjected to them because we see them online. We don't see them live. And that's the number one issue, is the ability to experience an event that could be life-changing, but if you see it from a distance, for example, 9/11, everyone recognizes that. Everyone knows about the World Trade Centers, about two planes flying into them, and I remember the day that happened to me. It really changed my perspective. Changed it from understanding what life is and how we undertake the vision of our lives. Are we here to place purpose for such things, or the acts of the dynamic terrorism? Are we here to place judgment or form on mistakes, or, in other words, are we here to complicate things in life? No, we're not. We're not. In all retrospect, we're here to understand the outcomes we do. And that's the beautiful thing about life. We all have choices. And these choices super succeed every other thing in our lives. Each choice we take in strides. We take in glory. And we take in compassion. It's funny. Our emotions are almost our own enemy. They are the drivers to making us achieve greatness. And it is the thing that makes us the most downfall. We need to undertake things and maybe ask questions of what we want in life, who we are, and how to achieve it. We need to understand why we exist. And what's the point? You know? Is there a real reason why I exist? Or you exist? Is there something we can achieve together? Or maybe not? Maybe it is the solo interest of the person to create themselves. We only understand the existence we give ourselves, the moment at hand. We only understand our emotional insight. And what does that mean? That means we have the answer before we have the knowledge. We always had the answer to everything in our lives. But here's my question, the big question that I really want to ask everyone is, why are we destroying everything around us? Why is it a joy to destruct when if you bend certain leaves, they can go upwards and design a new venture? But we have to understand something. We have to understand our choices. And every choice we make is important. We have to make it without emotional infliction. This emotional infliction we endure is our everyday life, is our everyday goals, is our everyday social peers. We beautify and subjectify life. We don't put it into perspective of everyone is together. We see it as an individual complex and the ability to achieve our individual goals. What is our goals? What is a goal? You know, what do we want to achieve? I'll give you an example. What do I want to achieve? From recent insights of my life, I want to achieve a little bit more peace and tranquility. I want to achieve some security in financial systems. I want to understand that if I have a voice, perhaps my voice will be heard. It is not for any subjective or goal-minded interface I want to endure on people. I want to classify the consciousness of who we are and put some ideals into each other to achieve greatness. That is what I want to achieve with my goals. I want to see the world become a little more incited. I want more thoughtful thinking. And lately I've seen some insight about big talks and understanding these thoughts of, for example, have I achieved everything? Have I understood everything before I die? Is there something I want to achieve before I die? Is there a goal that I want to live? Is there something I want to experience? These questions are a little bit of a sample of what I want people to devise into their mindsets. I want them to understand that we are not alone when we ask these questions, for we all want to understand a little bit of our dynamic trio into our entropic lives. And that brings us back to such things as playing Entropia Universe. A little bit of chatter, I suppose. But these questions are designed to cause sparks in our minds and to incite ourselves to ask even more insightful questions. For example, have we ever thought past ourselves? Do we lie or do we trust each other? And to achieve a goal, do we pursue it at all means or do we pursue it as a community? It's tough, I'll be honest. Human beings tend to direct themselves towards the self goal, towards the self-achievement of life. You can see it in examples everywhere in life. But what the curious thing is that there are really good people in this world. I mean, people that we don't even understand clearly how they are so good, you know, and they get treated as if they are placid moments. We need to embrace these people even more so and engage into their intellect to why they are so morally compassed towards good. Why are human beings naturally swayed to be negative or to I don't know if you can say embrace the word negative, but perhaps embrace the mentality or the message of the negative force. Why is it so easy? It is as easy as you can make it because it is a group mentality. It is not the solo individual thought frame. As the solo individual thought frame, as you could probably even think now, that you would want a community-oriented thought, or else you wouldn't be here, or else you wouldn't be watching this. Because if there is no idea you can learn from somebody, then you wouldn't watch it. So, what is it that you want to represent yourself as? And that really designs a good question. A question of, what is good and evil? Well, I suppose if we really asked ourselves such questions, could we have good without evil and evil without good? No, you would need both to create a equilibrium or a balance so that we can see the realization of reality. Because in all reality is that if you put sugar and water and you give it a little swirl, you get sugar water. You get equilibrium. There is balance within that water. And every balance of water is achieved in every spectrum. From the nutrients within the dirt to grow our plants, to grow our food, or even the hydroponic water stream that has the nutrients fulfilled within. And there is even a balance for photosynthesis with certain light spectrums. So you have equilibrium going on every avenue of life, from growing life to itself even having life, into the oxygen mixture, to the mixture that we breathe in every day and every moment, and even every thought we breathe in just to comprehend. Oxygen is quite important. It is facilitated to allow our blood flow, for it carries the iron within ourselves and creates a magnetic pulsating basically a biomagnetic feature of who we are. And it is the understanding of what we can be in the moment. What can we be? What can you be? What is it that you want to be? Those are the questions you need to ask yourselves. What is it that we can achieve together or without each other? It doesn't matter. We're in this together no matter what in the end. But the point is, you don't have to really care about it. It is what it is. Some point, there will be some factual evidence that will entice you to realize this unique connection with each other. You have had moments within your lives. Everyone's had a moment within their life of the synchronicity of moments of space and time. And that brings to a question of, what is time? What is it that we want to see? Time is just a moment that we are enveloped of the space that we are at the time of. For example, we cannot be at another space in the same time again, if that makes sense. We will never be in the same spatial place of the universe as a time spectrum. So you'll never have the same year or the same day as another day, or a month as another month, or whatever. It is repetitive in the sense of that it is so close to each other. It is chameleon-like of experience. But we do not ever have the same event occurring, ever. What does that mean? That means we have to realize the potential of what we want to achieve. That means if we focus on certain events or certain things to occur, we could possibly change the events of occurrence. We can twist the thought frame, not the time or the space, but the thought frame into the space of life. So perhaps, maybe, instead of killing each other, maybe we can bring peace and love to each other. And I'm not talking about having sexual context with everybody. I'm talking about the compassionate effect that you would have for another brother or a sibling, or even a mother or a father. Somebody that had a bond with you, that is connected with you beyond space and time, beyond the blood spectrum. And then you emplace that same feeling, that same moment of thought into others. Your friends, your neighbors. They are your brothers, they are your mothers, and they are your fathers. They are your sisters. They are all that is encompassing of you. You are not anything other than them. We are in this together. And it is the compassion that shows trend into creating a spectrum of peace and tranquility. And as I said before, equilibrium does exist, so we have to take that into nature fact. We have to understand that equilibrium is a process of who we are in egotistical or narcissistic bragging or rights of who they are. And each is to their own rights. Again, one person can have an event go one way and another person can see it another way. We tend to, as society, these occurrences in human emotion, we're attracted to try to help those in need and to listen to those in egotistical or narcissistic bragging or rights of who they are. And each is to their own rights. Again, one person can have an event go one way and another person can see it another way. tend to, as society, place a blame marker on events. We don't like to have events unclaimed. We like to either subsidize ourselves and take the rightful accountability, or we take the accountability and we make it a blame project for others to see. For you don't want the trouble of a moment that is not yours. You don't want the event that was caused by trouble or spilled milk per se. So we either pass the buck or throw someone underneath the bus. And the fact of life, and the funniest thing about life, is that if we just took accountability, if we just took the step up and go beyond our mistakes and go beyond that spectrum of what we hold as right or wrong, and we just accept what happened for what was and correct it. If we are able to become mature, or mature enough to see past the world, we can achieve greatness. This is something that is possibly the hardest thing to work on, is the ability to see past who we are and see the other person for what they are or who they are, and accept them for what they are and who they are, because they are just blood and skin. If we go out to destroy another human being, are we human still? Do we have a inclination to evil if we want to hurt another person? I'm unsure of the answer. I'm unsure of if we fear life enough. Do we push our own security onto others, or do we place a judgment on others? Here's the issue with life, is that we're all subjective, and we want to be right all the time. This takes away from our accountability measure. If we all are all right, then nothing's wrong. But that's not the fact of life. Even if we were all right, we're still not all right, if that makes sense. We always will have mistakes, or there will be mistakes, or there will be errors. That is how we learn. And we'll never get to the state of understanding something right away until we consciously understand ourselves. This is the most difficult path we could ever take, understanding ourselves. We're searching, I don't even know how to describe this. First of all, we know more about the planets that are orbiting us than we know about the depths of our seas and our planet ourselves. We really need to understand more about who we are before we keep going outside of ourselves. Because the answer is not outside of ourselves, but inside of ourselves. And we need to understand certain meanings of life. For example, criticizing and judging people is really not a measure of who we are. We can never measure ourselves by judging others, because if we do that, we're only disrupting the ego of who we are and who they are, and there's no production of creativity after that. There is only production of how do you get revenge, or how do you prove wrong, or how do you prove right your way of looking at things. So this battle of wits, or battle of mindful thinking in the sense of who's right and who's wrong, we have to get over that. There's no right or wrong. There is no spectrum of this to equal anything of who we are. We we are who we are, and that is it. There's no other description. You can't say, for example, Mary is good, and you can't say Bob is bad. There is no relevance of these meanings. For example, we have no background of either of them to judge any perception of our subjective views. So, that I have to ask you is when we see anyone out there and we judge them right off the cover, right off the spectrum of who they are we seeing them for what they are, or are we seeing them for what we think they are? And we should stop that, because if we don't stop that, then we'll never see who we are as cultures, as human beings, as people, as Bob, Sally, Mary, Jane, or whoever. We'll never see these individuals, and that is what we want, though, right? As individuals, we want to be recognized for something. We want the master achievement of our job or what we're getting paid for. We want to feel great about some sort of life. We want to get involved in life. But what is it? What is it about life that you want to achieve? And by achieving it, are you judging yourself, or are you holding yourself back? Sure. I'm even holding myself back. I'm even labeling myself. I'm even putting myself into a shell of judgments and perspectives of what I should be or shouldn't be. And is it limiting me? Yeah, of course. It's limiting me. But it is what it is. It is who I am. So, what is it that is life for us? Well, there's some joys that I enjoy to talk about. Sugar. I love sugar. The sensations of sugar are very complex. You have the sweet, you have the sour, and then you have the umami effect of your morsels just wanting another candy or chocolate or such. And then you have the endorphins firing off and all these other chemical effects. Sure thing. Everyone else has a perspective of sugar. But that's what I'm saying, is that we need to understand that everyone does have this individual experience. And that's what life's all about. And that's what experience is all about. In the end, we share it with each other. We share the experience with each other. So in the beginning of all time, we came as grunting Neanderthals to come together and create this massive effect of life and death and all that. Greed will destroy us. Or me. Greed. But in the beginning, it was simple. It was about life. It was how to live life, how to understand life, how to share it with each other, how to create bonds with each other. And you're right, these emotions, such as greed or desire, we are affected monetarily. We are affected in such massive rounds of our greed and emotions that we have disease that kills us on spot. We have diseases that inhibit us to enjoy life. And it's funny how these diseases are really a North American culture. They're not the world culture around. They are in the high societies, the societies that have everything. They're the ones that suffer in the mass extinction, as we can per se. They're the ones that enjoy the lush environments. And that's life, I suppose, eh? No, life is not simple to live. Life is a complex nature. But there is messages that we should follow always. For example, in the waking hour of who we are, we should stretch through time till we are disguised another being. We should always focus on change, for change is part of our existence. We are adaptive, we are beautiful, and we are circumferenced to understand and adapt to change. We exist to change. This is the process of who we are. The more we sit in those corners and security blankets, the more we are becoming stagnant and fat. What's funny about this is it's very difficult to change. That's the funniest part about life, is how hard it is to change our habits. How hard is it to embrace our moments of change? What can we do to accelerate change? These questions are so hard to answer. It is unbelievable. And the only reason they're so hard to answer is because of what factors it. What factors it is the change. The thing we all fear, the thing we don't want to do. So we need to understand how to change. And this change is very difficult. And thank you. This change occurs with a nature of confidence, understanding, surpassing the moment of past, present, and future. Because if we are able to pull away the fears of the future and pull away the regrets of the past, I think we'll be able to come to content of the present. And this is when we're able to change. This is when we're able to actually step out of our comfort and step forward and make some sort of change. And it doesn't have to be a big change in life. It doesn't have to be the grandiose, you don't have to go to church, or you don't have to do these big rapid changes, but you could change the little things in your life. For example, we eat way too much protein. I mean, if you live in North America, this reigns true. All around the world is more vegetarian oriented compared to North American styles. We are very protein heavy culture, and that is why we have so many diseases, I suppose. So maybe we need to figure out, what is it that we can put our ideas towards? that we can achieve greatness, or in other words, achieve change and be okay with change. You know, why do we have to live in dissatisfied jobs? Why do we have to go into work every day and be dissatisfied for where we work? Why do we have to go in every day and listen to our boss degrade us and talk down to us and think there's another Joe Schmo waiting to take our place? You know, why do we need to feel this effect of humanity? You know, here's my question: is we don't. We like. I guess that's not my question, but the question is, how long are you going to exist in suffering and pain? And you'll keep doing it till the death of you. And that's the funny part. Is my question really wasn't a question. It was kind of a wake up call. Is how long are you going to allow yourself to be degraded or affected by a job or for money in the fact of living? And I get it. We all have things to pay. We all have things to get done. We all have things we want to buy. Oh, I understand. I'm part of the culture of buying the next iPod or the iPhone or whatever the hell it is. You know, I am in that culture. I am so diluted by technology nowadays that I want it all. I want to achieve every spectrum of that. So what do I need? I need a job. I need to make money. So what do I need to do? I need to be a slave for a person so that I can achieve my material possession. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth all that time? And just to have some money to buy some stuff. Sure. It's fun. Money's fun. Allows you to enjoy life. Perhaps maybe too much sometimes. I guess we're all guilty at that, eh? Where we spend way too much on our pleasurable moments. Maybe waking up puking and in grievances of headaches and dehydrated to the core. Perhaps that's a daily occurrence for some of us. Who knows? But what we need to understand is we are the change. We are the ability to make change. And that's the most beautiful part about change, is we allow ourselves to decide the change. Do we change for good or do we change for bad? Do we fall into our addictions or do we step out of our addictions? We can play the blame game. We can play the excuses. We can have every excuse to mankind of why something wasn't done, why I didn't do it. We could have these excuses go on for miles long. You can ask a person why they didn't do their job today, and they will tell you straight up every excuse in the book. And they will keep telling you until you are satisfied of not wanting to hear them anymore about their excuses. You will be so diluted with the excuses. You can even see it in your politicians today. You can see it everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. There's always an excuse. Always something. But what is it? What is it about what is it about this excuse? Why do we want to make excuses? Is it do you want me to I can stop talking if you want. It's too funny. Oh, too funny. I guess. Well, you know, there's so much beautiful things in life. There's so much joy to be exchanged with everyone. That's what I love to live for. I love that connection. And I get it. Maybe I'm being a negative Nelly here on talking about the realistic, um, the realistic reality. What is life and why is it happening? But for me, I'll give you an example of my life and why I enjoy it. The life is about jokes. Life is about laughing. It's about that feeling of having one of the biggest laughs you'll ever have and tears coming out of your eyes. Your stomach clenching in pain because of all the crunchies you did by just laughing. Those are the moments in life that I find so fulfilling, so joyful. Beats out anything else, any other experience. That's what I enjoy about life. And that's what keeps me waking up every day. I don't even sleep anymore. There's times that sleep seems to be fading. Not enough rest. Maybe it's the whatever happening in the world. Maybe that's what's keeping me up. But it's these thoughts that I have nowadays, and I just want to pursue them even more now and make others think about life. It's those moments that you can go, aha, that makes sense. Where you put all the dots together and everything, all your suffering, everything that you lived for or you died for or whatever, made a point. And you have that eureka moment and it explodes outside of your stomach. It just fills up with joy, with just in this incapacitating moment of life. And you're ecstatic about existing and going to the next person and just listening. Or even just talking about your story. But listening is the funnest thing you can do. Because you're hearing another story. You're hearing another moment. Another point of life. Only in those moments, though. Only in those moments. When you finally realize the connections around you, the people around you, the loved ones, the friends, what they mean to you. And what is it about that? What is it that feeling that you have when you really care about someone? What is it? That feeling you have though when you care about somebody and you really want to cherish their ideas and thoughts. It's compassion. It's compassion that you have for your own living being. It is the most beautiful thing that you'll ever have. Because the compassion not comes from who you are or what you think life is, but it is the compassion that is within yourself that cherishes life. That moment that you look at yourself and you see the beautiful intention of who you are. Again, no matter the pain or the suffering you went through, that is all submissive to the moments of life. Because your pain and suffering was only to create your character now. Only to create the moment you have now. That is what your past is for. That is what the past is creating your expression now. But is that you? Is that who you are? Is your expression of what you are now? Is that what you want to show to life? Is that what you want to represent of your spectrum of your being? We live in life where we have fear is our number one point. We make more points with fear than with anything that makes sense. We have more fear than we have as a point of understanding. Imagine if we did understand each other. Imagine if we did take pace and stepped into another person's shoes. What could we learn? What could we find out about who they are, about their culture, about their belief, about their ideas? Do they have ideas how to make life even better? Do they have ideas to perhaps a solution we were looking for? If we understand to listen to each other correctly, we will be able to surpass the flaws that we have in our normal everyday experience. It is funny how we have more mistakes made on an everyday basis because we are only listening to ourselves and not hearing what is really being said. Most conversations are actually about 70% self-oriented and 30% outside of ourselves. It should be more closer to 50-50 if we wanted to create a communicating sensation of reality. But we have something called the ego. And, well, the ego is pretty powerful. It is the most dynamic thing we can exist in. And what is the ego? What it can make me laugh. Like, I guess you could call that ego a laughable sensation or a emotional endurance. But what is the ego? The ego is an identity we have of who we are, or entrusted of our own image of who we are. Do we know what we represent 100% of the time? Probably not. Who knows? It all comes down to perception. And the perception I have of my actions could be completely different to somebody else's perception. And they could maybe take it offensively, where I see it as, it's harmless. And that's what comes down to the ego. the ego is the ego is the identity we want others to see ourselves as. And why 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 are some egos so hard to get through to, or why are some egos just like, they're all about themselves? And but you got to think about it, are we all not all about ourselves? Are we not all projecting what we think as ideals or ideas? Don't we want to have the say? Don't we want to have the last word, or the first word, or the word, or the wits? Like, don't we want that exchange? Everyone seeks it. Everyone wants it. It's what makes life so experientially, understandably, to focus. To focus the moment at hand. And that's what it comes all down to. That's what it all boils down to, is the moment at hand. You can even take it for this example here, where I'm mining, where I'm playing Entropia Universe right now, and where if I went a little bit left or east on my radar instead of going south, maybe I would have hit a claim. But how do you judge that? How do you judge that? It's like playing darts. And one of the numbers, or one of the things, if you throw it at one of them, they'll pop open and there'll be balloons and everything, right? And you don't know which one though, but you'll keep throwing it at the dartboard until it pops the balloon, until the balloon comes out. You want to see that climax. You want to see that event. But that's the thing, is that's your choices. Did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice at the right time? And then you'll see other people, they come around and they throw a dart at that dartboard and they hit the balloon. They hit it right away. It pops open. It has its event. It's got like flashing cards, lights, and all these things and all these effects. Did you throw it the right one? Did you look at it the right way? Did you design it the right goal? And that's what it all comes down to. Is your goals what you design them to be? Because most professionals out there didn't go out there randomly throwing darts at a board waiting for that balloon to pop open. Most people had a goal to go towards, to achieve greatness. And everyone can have this. Not one person cannot have this. Everyone can. If one person can, everyone can. No matter what level of intelligence or understanding of the wealth, doesn't matter. None of that matters. Everyone can have this. Everyone can achieve goals. And everyone does achieve goals every day. Every day. You have your big goals, and then you have your small goals towards your big. And then some people just don't have goals. So what do they achieve? What do those people achieve? The people without the goals don't achieve anything. Because they had nothing to achieve. The people with the goals achieved everything because of their goals. And you can apply that to every spectrum of life. Every point of existence has this projection of mentality. And it really is a simple idea of how thought can be manipulated into creating a proper process of our existence. We can, and that's the thing, is like what I'm seeing lately, and maybe it's my fault too. You know, the depression of society. I just see it like overweighting a lot of things in life. It's like, can you win? You know, that feeling of, can you actually win against the elite? Can you actually achieve some solace into humanity? Is there a reason humanity has gone this direction? You can try win this game all you want. You can try win this game all you want. This game is the toughest game you'll ever try win. The only reason I'm winning, though, in this game, the only reason I did win was because I created goals. I know it sounds stupid, but I created goals to win in this game, so that I would be at a level of where I am now. But as I see the world change, as I see the world like get twisted and turned into society, the more I question, are my goals validated, in the sense of, did they process anything good for society? They processed my society as in an individual goal set, sure. No. Mind Arc is smart. They changed quite a bit of the game, and they knew they were going to. And here's the thing about this. You can see it in all sectors of this game. You can see that it is nearly impossible to profit in any sense. You have to be on the highest level or the highest scale of the economy to make beneficial wins in this game. The thing is, the game used to be allocated around crafting. That was changed to being allocated around hunting, which in my eyes doesn't really make sense, because you're giving up a huge portion of real estate of the game, but also by doing that they take more profitability out of the consumer's hands. So that was their goal, was to create the markup on average on most of the items in game to a break-even point, which in reality is sustainable on their end, if that makes sense. So, as we venture forward, there are ways to achieve some profit in this game. But they become more difficult each and every day because others see the profitability. It used to be where you had fluctuations, but who knows? But man, I talked a lot about a lot of things. Kind of overwhelming. The philosophy of life. What can we do? I would just love more people being aware. Just care for another person once in a while. Because when you do, you're caring for yourself and others and the world. Yeah. Can't do small crafting runs, man. Nice hit. Crystal Palace. I ain't hitting stuff. I wonder where I'm at here. I think I'm at pretty big loss. Because that shows not paying attention, huh? I have to say though. Human beings make some really good candy. Maybe I shouldn't have went to foma. Maybe I should have went to hell. I laugh. Our life. see where we're at. Whew. Ouch. Alright, let's see. I have three amps left, 7. Yeah, I'm not even. So let's just go for. Let's go. Let's try Dome 1. Let's give it a go. Give it a go, never know. Take a chance. Take a chance on life. Take a chance on Dome 1. Nerfing. Nerfing. Takes time to absorb. In the past, when I lost that much, though, I would have been pissed, freaking out, losing it. Now I've seen the swings of losing ped to winning ped. Pretty wild in this game. You gotta have a lot of strength to get through those volatile pains of, I guess, losing per se. But as we know, you put salt, sugar, or water together, or just sugar water. I don't know where the salt came from, but either way, you'll get a equilibrium action. So, same thing occurs. What you give to the universe, even in the video game state, is what you get back in the universe. So you can't fear the loss. There's just bigger losses. Bigger things. Bigger questions. Like, what's the point? Those are the questions you need to always ask. Especially when you see injustice. When you see injustice. Stand up. Stand up for what is right. I don't know. Guess it's tough nowadays. What is right and what is wrong? Who is right and who is wrong? There is no answer to that. So much chaos is happening in the world, though, over the factual evidence of money, or a system of monetary value from a global standpoint. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I do. I understand the concept. I just don't get it. So. Just makes no sense. You have so much crap happening in the world right now. Economic downturn in a massive way. I guess on a second world context. With all these countries fading away into organized criminal activity and more illegal crimes and more unsolicited deaths, senseless means of violence. For what? Like, I don't understand how a value of money or something of that nature needs to be there to add security on people. The corruption, though, will just... You give the corruption power. Why? I mean, look how corrupted it is. You think it'll get better? You think if you give prosperity to civilization, you think it'll get better? Come on, that's crazy talk. So much bitterness in the world right now. So much pain. I don't understand how something so simple, an exchange system, causes so much conflict on people. Like, why? Like, when it makes sense for a government struggling to hire people to build infrastructure that is needed, or to police and cause security that is needed, wouldn't the moral decision of the human being be more precise? But greed for what? It makes no sense. You gain nothing if you're alone, but you gain everything when you're together. Well, I guess I should reword that. You gain one thing if you're alone, but you gain everything together. Just makes no sense. And what makes not sense is I thought we were pretty smart intellectually. I thought we could figure out what's the real meaning What's the real ideal? I don't see the dead rising anytime soon. I see more life falling very soon. I see like nature taking a huge course on humanity. And we're blind. Blind. There is an asteroid coming, though. It's the ironic part. But I don't think that's the real story now. I think there's something else. So how do you get rid of greed? Give them what they want. Always someone wants more. So you give them what they want. You keep giving it until they got it all. They become so diluted, maybe, just maybe. Become enlightened and realize it's not about all of it, but it is about the experience to entice all of us. Enjoy it. Perhaps greed can be cured. Decided issue. A moment of time. I never said there was good, but I'll never claim there's bad. If you create a dualistic nature, you're only pursuing yourself to exist more in a dualistic nature. So, if you understand that they both exist, but you only participate in what you want to design, perhaps that is the cure or understanding that is needed. Kind of does. This is the one thought that you actually need to comprehend, is the fact that dualism doesn't exist. Even though you see the nature of evil and good, you have to understand that you only feed what you think or place your thought towards. So, the moral of the story would be to understand that you don't have the dual nature, but you have the singularity nature. The idea of the belief of who we are and what we are is a complex subject. Because belief, even atheism, is a belief. So that's what causes the subject to be complex. Belief has the core idea of who we are. Or, in other words, what we represent. And grats Pogana. Grats. But we are the idea we represent. So belief or believing is really hard to understand conceptually, just because of how much information is diluted. We have way too much diluted information on this subject of belief. If you ask a Christian about belief, they would say Jesus Christ. You ask a Buddha about, or Buddhism, a Buddhist about belief, and they'd say Buddha. You ask a Zen person about belief, and they would ask you a question, complexity of what is the meaning of belief. So you have many religions, and you can go through all the religions, but I'm not the most involved in all the religions to understand that question to answer. But you get the idea that each religion or each idea has a different answer or perspective of what it's trying to convey. So what's interesting though is all religions really do replicate each other. They are almost identical in every precision of their ideals, to their morality, to their lessons. There'll be some twists and turns here and there, but the main story of how to live, is in the books. It's in the great ancient historic novels that we wrote as human beings. And there was great people back then that really had a voice, I guess. Or maybe made so much of a calamity or mix up, or I don't know how to word it, a riot in senses where it was a flame in history, or burned or singed in history so well that the story written is so conveyed, so memorizing, because it's basically true. Most of these stories about people in the past are true, and they weren't. There's a difference of intelligence, okay? So back then, or maybe even you could say 50 years ago, and that's not that far away, you know, if you think about it. We relied on farming. We relied on the old skills, you know. There was tractors and all that kind of stuff, but there was no computers yet. There was none of that. You know, computers came around in the 1980s, and when that came about, you know, that dramatically changed the world as we know it. I mean, look at now. Like, if you think about it, wow, everything's accelerated so fast, propelled so much, you know, in such a little amount of time. We have changed dramatically, and that's the thing, is like the social nature of who we are really desires me to ask these questions out to people. Is, what is it that you want to achieve before you die? You know, these are big questions. These are ideas that really instill the nature of who we are and what we can achieve. And then that's, you know, and this all boils down to what belief is. This is what boils down to the belief system of who we are. So, what human beings do is we make this belief box. And once we hear a truth or a evidential something that satisfies our ideal so much that we're so ingrained to it that nothing else out there makes sense. And this can be represented through most religions in society. We're so, like, another religion can be saying the same thing, but they'll fight it because they're not listening. They're not hearing, they're listening. They're being very subjectified on their own religion, saying, basically, in their head, it's all backwards. So, one religion could be saying, love each other, love thy neighbor, you know, be friends, don't steal, etc. Another one could be saying, if you steal from another, you'll feel the wrath of blah blah blah. And then another one could be, you know, and then same one could be saying, if you make love to another, you'll feel the wrath. You know, they're saying the same thing, but in different words. So if it's not said in the same words, we all misconstrue it or misconceive it, and we judge it. We make a political language on it, which creates barriers, and we're never able to talk about it and get it clear out of people's heads of what really is happening. And that's the thing, is like, what is really happening? You know, it's my question too, because it doesn't make any sense. The world state doesn't make any sense. You know, there's got to be more people out there that really think about life and cherish it. There should be an outweighing, though. Like, there shouldn't be more people willing to destroy Earth compared to people that want Earth. Equilibrium, right? We go back to equilibrium. There should be just as many sugar particles out there, just as the other particle, the poison particles, whatever it is. So, why would people, in my mindset, I don't understand this. I never can, really, because why do people want to hold a gun in their hand or a weapon in their hand and deliberately kill somebody else. Why would anyone want that? I've never dreamed in my life to hurt another human being. But every day, there's people that join the military, that join a cause, militia, that join ISIS, that join terrorism, that join, you know, the both sides. Both sides are collecting. But why? What's the purpose? What do we achieve when we hurt each other? Pain is only a lesson we need to learn once. After that lesson, we can understand how the pain is caused. And perhaps we can develop an essence of to understanding the moment of hand into achieving a painless or sufferless environment. In retrospect, we are able to circumcise our pain. We're able to take our pain and convert it. But what we're doing is not converting pain, but we're causing stress, and we're causing desire of stress. This scares me. Because we're focused on what we don't want. So many of us are so trapped into the don't wants that we're creating it. Creating a world that is going to be so diluted by untruths and truth seekers. You're gonna have falsehoods everywhere you go. Everyone is right, but no one else is right. No, but seriously, that's exactly what's going to be occurring, and you probably see it right now. Probably see it happening right now. Because everyone has the right of way, apparently. But we're not making the right way between each other. We're not creating that path for each other. That's what we need to create, is that path for each other. Well, it seems I'm done mining. And I'm done my conversation. Looks like my mining was pretty bad. Pretty bad. I will post this on YouTube. So if you like it, please give it a like and subscribe and all that other stuff. And hey, if there's more interest in this type of filming, streaming, whatnot, I'll do more. I like talking about these big questions, these big ideas, things that we all think about in my idea. I think we all really strive to be good human beings. I think there's something special and unique about all of us, that we can achieve greatness with each other. But we have to understand and accept, because we're all going to be different. We're all going to have different insights, different ways to do things. One person may help another achieve greatness, whereas the other person doesn't get greatness. But that's the lesson of life. And that wasn't the end. That was only the beginning. Because either or, the greatness achieved, there can be always another state of greatness. So we're always pushing each other forward at a momentum pace. And perhaps, one day, we will see the light on the other side of the tunnel. And maybe, just maybe, it will be what we sought after. Maybe it will be that moment in life where, aha, I get it now. Alright, thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. And tune in again.